What's going on, guys? I was going to make a whole discussion video, but instead I'm going to do it on here. So, up on the screen you see this card right here called Switch Hero, and I think this is a really interesting card. Now, necessarily is it a great card? It is a very debatable, but I feel like it's a very interesting card. So let's get on with the card. So it's a normal trap card, it's called Switch Hero, and the effect is each player switches control of all monsters they control with each other. So if you have two monsters, your opponent has two monsters, you switch them out. The only stipulation is there must be the same number of monsters on each player's field to activate and resolve this effect, which that makes sense if you're switching out for control. But this is a very interesting card because while it is somewhat specific, situational card, and situational cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! Just are not usually great cards, this is a very interesting card because equaling cards your opponent controls is not necessarily a hard task. It can be, depending on the deck, and it can definitely be bad, but this is why it's good. So you can have this card face down, so you have two cards on monsters on the field. And your opponent's setting up like an Exceeds player, Synchro player, just some sort of play. You just did a pendulum summon, and he summons two monsters in the field, and he's still going to do another play. He's still going to probably summon another monster. He's not done with his play yet. You can special summon this card, and depending on what you have, and depending on the situation, you can give your opponent these two shitty-ass cards that you might have, and take your opponent's two great cards. Or your opponent could have just got done making a big play, and he goes for a huge Synchro or Exceeds, whatever, and then he gets two on the field, or he just has one. You activate this card, and you have a crappy monster. I mean, this is basically like a enemy controller, but with mass quantity monsters. I think this card is crazy. I don't know why. Maybe some people don't think the same thing, but I can see a lot of scenarios where this card could come into play and can come in pretty clutch. Once again, it is very situational, but just think of the possibilities. Like, even just simple things, like your opponent just stacks a field of like 3 monsters, and you have, like 2 monsters that are better than yours. Flip, here you go. I mean, in weaker decks, this is really good. You play raccoons. You could soul charge 3 raccoons out of your deck, or how many needed, depending on how many monsters your opponent might have, and switch them out. And now your opponent has all these weak ass raccoon monsters, and you have all your opponent's monsters. Even if your opponent's monsters weren't that great, if you're playing a weak deck like raccoons, that switching can really change it. So, or if you have monsters on the field and you have a good monster you want to play, you could switch them out with your opponent, then tribute your opponent's monsters. There's just so many possibilities. And the only bad downside is the equality on both fields, but I feel like that could definitely be managed in certain decks to make this card pretty dope. So, I don't know. Some people might think this is crap. I think it is legit. So, let me know what you think down below. I'm going to test out this card some and put it in some decks, so you'll see maybe a dual video after this video. But for me, right now, this card is pretty legit. So, I'd say test it too if you're on DevPro. I don't know if Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro has it yet. I'm partial to DevPro, but try it out. Let me know what you think down below, and I'm going to go have some fun with this card. Once again, I think it's crazy. I don't know. I could be reading this card wrong or something, but I think it's legit. So, that's all I have to say about it. And, yeah, I'll see you later, guys. Peace.
Damn. Yeah.